When we look at human evolution, we often focus on physical milestones: walking upright, opposable thumbs, bigger brains. But a quieter adaptation allowed us to dominate the planet. It's a mental function we call social cognition. To see why that matters, look at our closest relatives. For chimpanzees, genetic survival relies on small, tightly knit groups. If they encounter an unassociated stranger, the outcome is almost always violent. To a chimp, an outsider is a mortal threat. Early humans faced the same brutal math, yet we learned to cooperate across massive networks of people we'd never even met. The problem for archaeologists is that you can't dig up a thought. How do you find the record of an invisible social boundary? You have to look at the physical objects our ancestors left behind. By examining very specific prehistoric artifacts, we can pinpoint the moments our species invented three distinct social categories: us, others, and strangers. Tracing these three stages through stone and clay reveals the cognitive shift that allowed us to build complex society. The first and tightest social circle is us. We can see this in a 29,000-year-old ceramic figure known as the Venus of Dolní Věstonice. Popular culture often groups these prehistoric carvings together as symbols of a universal fertility cult. The physical evidence points to something much more intimate and hyperlocal. When researchers took a high-resolution tomographic scan of this specific figure, they found a child's fingerprint, roughly 10 years old, fired directly into the clay. The materials themselves tell a story of local life. The artisan mixed nearby wind-blown silt with powdered charred animal bone and baked it in a communal hearth at up to 800 degrees Celsius. At the Dolní Věstonice site, archaeologists found thousands of these ceramic fragments. They were deliberately thermal shocked, designed to shatter in the fire as part of a group ritual. A child's fingerprint pressed into a shattering clay figure during a shared firelight ritual. This is the fossil record of us, the immediate kin group, deeply bound together by daily survival and local tradition. As populations expanded, groups grew too large for any one person to know everyone else's face. Survival required a new social category. This is the concept of the other, someone outside your daily residential camp, but who belongs to your broader mating and cultural network. We see this categorization clearly in the Levantine Aurignacian, a network of hunter-gatherers living near the Mediterranean coast 35,000 years ago. Levantine Aurignacians wore identifying badges, notched gazelle bones, and red deer pendants. This network map shows these styles spreading thousands of miles into Western Europe, yet they shared nothing with the Amerindian people living immediately next door, prioritizing shared identity over geographic proximity. Early humans were drawing complex cognitive boundaries based on shared culture and beliefs, allowing their identity to override the physical landscape. As the first agricultural settlements took root, human life became tethered to specific plots of land. Territories shrank, populations increased, and people settled into permanent villages. This crowding created a new social reality. Humans were suddenly coming into regular contact with people who lacked their shared history or traditions. They were finally encountering the true stranger. Human villagers had to override the deep-seated primate reflex to attack outsiders, choosing instead to see economic value in people they didn't know. We find proof of this integration in the sudden appearance of imported obsidian and perfectly knapped Naviform blades. These complex tools required specialized craftsmanship, created by expert artisans who traveled in from different regions. Strangers were tolerated specifically because they possessed rare resources and specialized knowledge. This exchange across social boundaries marks the birth of global economic networks. Over hundreds of thousands of years, the physical boundaries of the ancient world were replaced by socially constructed barriers inside the human mind. The cognitive ability to sort humanity into us, others, and strangers was a survival mechanism. It allowed early humans to manage scalar stress, the psychological friction that comes from living in dense populations. The cognitive architecture that allowed an ancient villager to safely trade obsidian with a stranger still operates today. It drives our in-group favoritism, our societal biases, and ultimately our ability to function in a globalized world.